Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, January the 3rd, with the moon in Capricorn. A great sign to start the work week, to start the new year, because Capricorn is all about getting the job done, being grounded, being organized. In fact, the new moon on Sunday, the 2nd, was in Capricorn. There's a new moon every 4 weeks. Wherever it falls in your chart is where your attention and priorities is more drawn to. But just being in Capricorn, there's this energy that wants to be productive and get the job done. Very goal-oriented. And January is when we're thinking about our goals for the new year. However, Venus is retrograde until the end of January, once every year and a half. Venus rules over the domain of relationships, creativity, but also money, because Venus likes the finer things in life. Venus loves luxury, and so Venus is also associated with money. So with the retrograde, we're reevaluating our income, we're reevaluating our creative goals, we are reevaluating our relationships. Now, with that said, on Monday, on the 3rd, the moon's going to be void of course. On Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday afternoon, Pacific time, the moon is going to be void of course. On Friday afternoon, early evening, the moon will be void of course. What this means is that the moon is no longer making any aspects to other planets until it changes signs and starts the new cycle again. There's a new cycle every 2.5 days. So with the moon not making any aspects, there's no energy. The energy is flat. So this is why you don't want to make really important decisions, because the energy isn't there for the follow-through. You certainly wouldn't want to start a new project, a new job with the moon void, of course. But what I do think is happening with the moon, with Venus in retrograde, all this reassessing, it's the new year with the new moon in Capricorn. So we're really looking at accomplishing our goals and setting up new goals for the new year. The void of course periods, especially this week, it's best to wrap up from the past, reflect on what you've learned from the past. This is a time of taking it more slow and cautiously, not yet the week to be going full steam into the new year, but trying to get into the new rhythm. For many people, it just might be that you're tired from all the traveling, all the holiday festivities, and you just want to take it slower. So let's start with Monday, January the 3rd, the moon in productive Capricorn, but it's going to go void of course from 8:21 a.m. Pacific time to 2:44 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon leaves more conventional practical Capricorn and goes into progressive innovative Aquarius at that 2:44 p.m. Pacific time. But by 6 to 8 p.m. approximately Pacific time, the moon, the emotional moon, will be crossing over intellectual Mercury. This is a really good period to be talking Mercury about your feelings of the moon. It can be very creative and expressive, so also good for writing, good for heartfelt conversations. On Tuesday, with the moon continuing in Aquarius. Aquarius is very progressive, wants to think out of the box. But the moon in Aquarius will be in very stressful angles to unpredictable Uranus and restricted Saturn, anywhere from like 8 in the morning up till nearly noon Pacific time. So that period is a lot of moody, unstable energies. So maybe you're trying to get started, but you're still feeling sluggish. Then the moon goes void of course in Aquarius, Tuesday the 4th at 4:45 p.m. Pacific time for nearly 24 hours, which is very unusual, until Wednesday at 4:17 p.m., at which point the moon goes into more empathetic, caring Pisces. But that 24 hours, nearly 24 hours with the moon void of course, yes, do not make any major life decisions, don't launch any major new projects, but can be very favorable for reflecting, for reviewing, for just let these ideas incubate, not yet ready to go forwards. Now, on Wednesday, with the moon still void of course till 4:17 p.m. Pacific time, the Venus, pleasure-seeking, sociable Venus, will be in harmony with Neptune. Now, Venus is retrograde, but when Venus is in harmony with Neptune, this can be a very loving, romantic time. So this could be a really good day for forgiveness. If you were having problems with a relationship, you could be reconnecting or hearing from a close relationship from the past, even if you got off track or you just lost touch. And then Wednesday could be this very idealistic, romantic time of reconnection. If you're an artist and you've been feeling stuck, that as Venus rules over money, with the Neptune, you could be more inspired, more creative, more imaginative. Thursday, with the moon still in caring, sensitive Pisces, it's going to be in harmony with Uranus. Moon Uranus, we're more open to trying something new and exciting, breaking out of any kind of old routines. But also Uranus rules the collective, groups and organizations, and from late morning, early afternoon Pacific time, you might be more inspired to connect with a group, or maybe just call up your friends and have a group gathering. Friday, the moon, by early afternoon Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with Pluto. Pluto goes deep. Pluto rules the underworld, rules psychology. This could be a great period, that early afternoon, for some really profound thinking, or having an astrology reading, going into counseling. So you really want to explore the depths of your psyche. But then the moon is void, of course, again from 2:23 p.m. on Friday, Pacific time, till 9:26 p.m. Then the moon goes into fiery Aries, dynamic, energetic Aries. Pisces is more quiet, more reflective, more internal. When the moon once a month goes into Aries, it's more external. It's like, let's get out there and exercise, go on an adventure, take some risks. So on Saturday, with the moon continuing in confident, assertive Aries, Venus still retrograde till January the 29th, but now the Venus is aligning with the Sun. So the Sun is putting a real spotlight on all things Venus. And being retrograde, this could also be another good day for forgiveness, for reconciling. But also, if you're creatively blocked, the sun can also inspire and bring more ideas to light. And on Sunday, the moon in Aries is going to be in harmony with assertive, ambitious Mars. Mars is actually the planet associated with Aries. So this moon in Aries in harmony with Mars is going to bring a lot of enthusiasm, courage, going on a big adventure, great for exercising. This is happening from around 10 to 12 noon Pacific time. Before I sign off, I want to remind you I'm available for a one-question offer for a nominal fee. To order it, go to the home page, astrologyanswers.com, look for the tab labeled Advisors, click on it, scroll down till you find my name, and follow the instructions. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.